Hey, what's up? Nick here. You are listening to Nick's Rants, and today we have a special episode. Well, all of them are special. Anyways, this one is about driverless cars. Those cars that drive by themselves. I don't have a story to go along with this. It's just me ranting. I have some questions about these driverless cars. I'm gonna hit the negatives before I get to the positives, because these things need to get out of the way right now. Alright, let's get started. How does it work? Okay? There's hardly any descriptions on how these things work. I know there's like sensors and cameras and stuff, but how do you tell the car where to go? Turn left here, turn right there. Keep going straight. Take a U-turn. Stuff like that. They don't tell you how you do that. Parking. How do you tell it when to park? Or to tell it whether or not to park in the street or in the lot. Or not to park in that spot because that's a handicap spot. That kind of thing, because they don't tell you about that either. And the videos from Google are the most nondescript videos ever. It's just 2 minutes of nothing. 2 minutes of basically nothing. It's just footage of somebody sitting in a car driving down the road, but it doesn't really tell you how anything works at all. And potential problem here is software. Because software, does it always work? No way. No way. Software does not always work. There's a problem at some point, guaranteed, and we don't know how long it's going to take for that to get fixed, or how long it would take for the problem to even be found. Because that stuff's hard to do. It's hard to fix a software bug. And just in computers, but it's going to be even harder in a car. Because there's so many different variables about running a driverless car. Anyways, and all this is connected over the internet, which it's just opening gates and doors and windows for hackers to break into people's cars and drive them wherever. Or drive them into things or shut down their cars. You know? Hackers could be breaking into people's cars and driving them off of bridges. It could be just horrible. Hackers, they could do a lot of damage with cars that have this much control over the internet. And if there is a problem with this thing, can you manually shut it off and then use the steering wheel and drive it like a normal car? Or, even if it does, are people even going to know how to drive anymore? Because if you don't drive for a long enough period of time, you're going to forget how to do it eventually. It might not happen after the first couple of weeks or months, but eventually you will forget. Or what about the younger people years from now? Are they going to know how to drive? I doubt it. If everyone's using driverless cars, the younger generations after me, yeah, you're not going to know how to drive. Yeah, have fun with that. And another thing, accidents. If there's an accident between two driverless cars, who's taking the blame on here? Because it's neither the fault of the drivers because they're not driving anything. So who gets in trouble? Who files insurance claims here? It's going to get really confusing with insurance. Just horribly confusing with insurance. Yeah, we need to figure out the insurance. It's complicated and confusing. So we need to hold off on driverless cars until we figure out all of these questions. Anyways, on to the positives, because there are some positives. I will say my concerns, I feel as though outweigh the positives, at least at the moment. It prevents drivers from getting into their cars drunk, angry, or tired. Those are the three major killers in driving deaths, is those three things. Count for a lot of the driving deaths out on the roads, whether it be cars hitting cars or cars hitting pedestrians, or cars hitting like people on bicycles or motorcycles. If this is done right, the roads will be safer for pedestrians and people on bikes, whether it be motorcycles or bicycles. That is, if the questions that have asked are answered and figured out before the stuff goes on the road. And also, it'd be nice to have your own personal chauffeur driving you around. Again, that brings up laziness, because you just get in the car and you don't do anything. I have a question. If a cop pulls over a self-driving car and the person in the driver's seat is drunk, does that person get a DUI? Or do they not, because the car is doing all the driving? That's my question. That is my question. Or will self-driving cars just not work at 3 in the morning? I don't know. Will there still be DUIs after self-driving cars? Or are they just not going to give out DUIs because the car does all the driving? Or will they give out the DUI because a drunk person could potentially take control of the car and kill someone? I don't know. That question remains to be answered. So basically, in summary, self-driving cars have a little bit of potential, but loaded with questions that have yet to be answered. Google, you need to come forward and answer these questions right now. Come on. Stop telling us nothing. Stop telling us about your algorithms and your testing. A Google car got pulled over for driving too slow. Clearly, Google has work to do. Anyways, that just about wraps up this rant. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for listening. I'll be back for the next one real soon.